Okay, next we're moving on to the Planetary gear train. So this is the rear annulus gear. So it has a snap ring here holding the gear to the support. And we're just disassembling these parts to better clean them. So we're going to just clean these when we're done disassembling and then put them all back together. So another one here is the driving shell and the sun gear. We just put these to the side. So this is held in by a snap ring right here. So we're just going to use our snap ring pliers. There we go. Put this to the side. Next we have the governor assembly. This assembly is only for the 42RH models. Now the 42RE is the same transmission except it doesn't have this. If you watch my video how automatic transmissions work, you'll know that for non-electronically controlled transmissions they use a governor, and the governor is used to have a pressure in relation to vehicle speed. So as vehicle speed changes, the pressure from the governor changes, and it does this by weights that spin. This spins on a shaft. So we're going to rebuild this now. The first thing we do is notice the position of the governor body on the drive right here. So we see this front part with the notch faces on this side with the angles. We have to put it back in this same position. Now I've already taken a couple of parts off when we did the tear down. We have the weight assembly with the snap rings and the E-clip. Take that out. It looks like this. It goes in this little sleeve. And then on the other side we have the valve. There it is. Okay, so we're going to remove these 7/16 bolts. Let's see if I can get them off without an impact. Yeah, there we go. We have a little filter right here we gotta replace. Now it's important. The filter was on this side with the hole sort of in this circle. This filter will also fit on this side, but that's not where it goes. It goes right here. So keep note of that. Okay, it's come time to remove these seals again. They're just these interlocking seals. So I'm just going to stick my pick in there. There we go. There's one. All right. Okay, so we have new seals for the governor. These seals are actually the Teflon scarf cut seals instead of the cast iron locking seals. So book specifies to do this in order to ensure a tighter fit. Just give them a little squeeze, and then we're gonna put them on the shaft. Just like that, and making sure they're together properly. Alrighty, now we're going to put the new filter on the correct side that I discussed earlier. Put the top part on. Okay, we're just going to snug these bolts down. We're not going to get them to spec. That will be done later. Okay, we're actually done with the governor for right now. All of the weight components will be assembled later when it's actually on the output shaft. So we're going to put all this governor stuff to the side. Alright, next we have the Kickdown servo. So we got the spring, and we got this piston guide here. We're going to replace that seal. And then we got this guy here that's there's a snap ring that holds this little assembly together. So let me get my snap ring pliers. There we go. This guy comes out. We got a seal we're going to replace there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 seals to replace. Alright, let's start with this guy. This one's a scarf cut. Another scarf cut. And then this one here looks like a metal butting ring. There we go, got it. Okay, so this guy, the replacement seal is a scarf cut seal. There we go, that's nice and easy. Alright, we got this guy next, cleaned them all up. We got a scarf cut seal up here, and then another one down here. There we go. Alright, the new seal for this one is black. There we go. Alright, we're ready to put this back together. Let's just lubricate this with some transmission fluid. Just turning it to make sure that O-ring is seated all nicely. And then we got the snap ring. Alright, so we got the spring and then this top part, and that's it for this assembly. Alright, we got the low reverse servo now. We have this little spring retainer, purple spring, snap ring, and then we got this guy, seal around it, and looks like there's a snap ring holding it in. Looks like we have to compress this spring and then remove the snap ring like that. This is a pretty heavy duty spring. Alright, so what I've done is, so we need to compress this. So I've taken some square tubing and cut this little channel in it, and I got it in the vise. So I'm just gonna compress this, and I'm gonna remove the snap ring in here. So let's just get in here like this. Now let's release this. There we go. Alright, so this is going to come out. We're just going to inspect everything and replace this seal. Alright, so this is a little lip seal, and the lip goes down facing this way. Probably pull it out with my hand. Alright. Alright, we got the new lip seal. Gonna put that in. Okay. We're gonna put it back together. You know, I might be able to. Now I'm gonna put it in the vise. So I thought I'd give you guys a close-up of how my little tool works. There we go, now we can put the snap ring on. Alright, I got the snap ring back on. Sorry I didn't show it on camera, but it was kind of a pain. What I had to do was eventually just put it on the table and just like this, without anything, open the snap ring and just push it down on the little lip here, and then put it back in the vise with my special tool, and then just push it on the lip with a screwdriver. So that turned out pretty nice. So we are done with this assembly. Alright, so I finally got my bushing kit in, so we're going to go back and replace the bushings in a lot of these assemblies. So always look to see where the bushing is or where it ends up. Let me move that. The bushing, you can see, is right at the bottom of this little groove here. So I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to use my brass punch. Let me get a hammer. And we're just going to hammer this guy out. Alright, so these little brass punches were too small, so I went upstairs to my Atlas lathe, and I knew I had a brass rod in there, so I turned this down a little bit, and so now I have a good solid grasp on this, and even if I miss, I'm not going to smash my fingers in the same way I was before. So you want to use brass because it's soft and you won't mar up the metal on the clutch assembly. Alright, so there's the bushing. We're going to put the new one in. Alright, so here's the new one. And I got this 48 ounce dead blow hammer. These are really nice because they're soft and they're filled with, I don't even know what they're filled with, but they're filled with something so that when you smack something with it, there's less of a tendency for it to bounce up and have you smack it again. That's why it's called a dead blow. It'll smack and then that's it. And it's really soft, so I can smack this in with the confidence that I'm not going to break it. Otherwise I would use a piece of wood. So I'm just going to try to hit this as square as possible. I'm going to turn it this way. So we just want it to be, we actually need to make it go down a little further because it was down a little further. So I'm actually going to get one of these smaller brass punches and just do this. And that is perfect. Right on the money. Alright, next we have this sun gear. So let's see here. I'm actually going to have to lift this up a little bit so the bushing can drop out. Alright, I got this set up on 2 blocks. So hopefully this will work. Alright, so what's happening is it's getting mushroomed, and because there's a little lip here, I can't get as good of a hit on the bushing and it keeps slipping off. So I'm going to have to periodically go back to the lathe and face this off until it's nice. Alright guys, so it was becoming obvious that this bushing was not really moving so much. So I actually switched hammers. It's not the dead blow hammer, but this hammer is much heavier. And see, what's good about this one is it doesn't bounce back, but it's soft. And the softness of this hammer is going to ultimately absorb energy. This is much harder, so it's going to work much better. I also, regrettably, but I've done it, I have switched to a steel punch. I usually do use a steel punch, but I just like to have the peace of mind of the brass, knowing that there's no possible way for me to mar up the surface. I usually don't mar up the surface with this, but still. So I've switched to the steel. I've had a pretty good track record without marring up surfaces, and it looks good already. So I'm going to switch to the steel, at least for this one, and I'm going to keep this as a last resort. So you can just tell, and it's just coming right out. You can just tell that the energy is being transferred so much better. So I'm going to put this on the 2 blocks now. How we coming? And this stuff is super hard in steel, but still, you know, you still want to be careful. It's coming, she's coming. I think this will be the last one. Oh. Alrighty, and you could see, I don't know if you could see it, but the surface is nice, no mars or anything. This bushing went down to the bottom of this chamfer. So the other bushing in here is the same size, I believe, but what's nice is since this one's gone, I got this 21mm socket with the perfect diameter. You just fit right in there, and this will make it way easier to get out. So I'm just gonna, so it's not gonna come out all the way. So I'm gonna just put it on these 2 blocks of wood again, and then it should come out the rest. Almost. So much easier. Alright, so the new bushings should be pretty easy to install since we have a socket here. But I'm actually gonna use a piece of wood just to get it even and flush in there. Alright, so I've set this up in the vise to see if I can press this in. And this is working much better. So let's see here. I'm actually going to go a little more. Alrighty. So this is why a press is always better. When you hammer, you have a tendency to get these little distortions in the bearing, and I'm just going to go around here and cut the protruding parts with this little box cutter. And it's important that you don't use a file for this because that can remove too much material. So I'm just going to get rid of the high spots, and there we go. Okay, we're going to press in the other bearing now. So this is straight. See how that looks. And a little more. Perfect, right on the money. Alright, next we have this skinnier bushing. And I got this 30mm socket that fits just perfectly. So we're going to use this to just punch it out. That should just... Well, I guess it's a little too big. There we go, that one was nice and easy. Alright, we're gonna pound this in on a piece of wood. Hopefully pounding it straight. There we go, we want it flush with this. Alright. And again, using the soft blow hammer on that. Alright, we're moving on to the direct clutch assemblies. I mainly just want to replace the bushings for right now. If you recall, when we took this apart, I sort of just pried the snap ring out until the whole thing flung up, which was dangerous. The way you're supposed to do it is you're supposed to compress this, remove the snap ring so the tension gets removed. So I'm going to do that now, and I just brought back my tool that I was using before, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on this way, and then now this is the 4L60E tool as I mentioned earlier, and it came with this top part which actually fits pretty nicely over this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread the nut on. Don't mess around with this spring. This spring is, I think the book says 860 pounds. It's something crazy like that. Alright, so just going to press this. Again, do not mess around with this spring. This is a insane spring. So we have a snap ring right in the middle. Let me zoom you guys in. Hopefully you can see that snap ring. So let's get in here and remove this guy. There we go. Alright. Careful putting your fingers in here. Again, crazy spring. Alright, let's let this spring go. That is a spring, guys. Alright. Oh, that is a spring. So you can see that this bushing has seen some better days. It's a little scored, and this part's all messed up here. That keeps sliding off. Alright, we got this, what is this? We got this 1 1/16 socket that seriously just like, come on, that's perfect. Whoops. So we're gonna, well, that's a machine surface. You never want to clamp on machine surfaces. So let me see if I could do this sideways with a punch like that. Just using another socket as a way to reach in there. It's coming out. Alright, okay, I got this in the vise. This one should just easily press in. And we got a little shoulder too. So this one couldn't be easier. That's all there is to it. Let's press this one in. This one, we can only get flush with the vise. We actually have to press it in a little further than that, if you recall. Alright, so it has to actually go a little further. So we're just going to pound this in a little bit. And a little more on this side. And that looks pretty good. And again, I'm just going around with this box cutter and just taking a nice, just clean slice of all these little burrs that we got from pounding it in. And from using the vice jaws. Vice jaws aren't really the smoothest either. But my vise wasn't big enough to get something to press it in with. Now don't scratch the surface of the bearing. We're only getting the corners. Alright, now that we're done with the bushings, we're going to start putting together the Planetary gear train. So we have this part with the two spacers, that one goes on each side, and we have this part right here, the sun gear, and we're going to come in from the bottom. And we got this top spacer. And then, holding this together, we have this snap ring. Let's see if I can get it on. This is, let's see. There we go. Push that down until it snaps in place. There we go. Alright, next we have this guy to put together. So it just goes right in, and then you got a snap ring. Alright, now we're ready to start putting the Planetary gear train together. So first thing we have is the sun shell, and so going in here we have this 4-pinion Planetary gear set. Spacer on the bottom, spacer on the top. Just holding the spacer on the bottom in with transmission fluid. I got a little bit of the transmission fluid in there. I'm just going to put that in. And then, let's loop this up. We got this, we have this analyst gear, they call it. We put that on top. And then we have a washer here, and then a washer here. This one can only go on one way. And then we have the snap ring. Let's get this snap ring on. So that's that. Alright, so now we're ready to put all this together. So we have this part right here, and on top of this there's the Planetary gear set inside of the other analyst gear, like this. There's a spacer right there, and then there's also a spacer on top. Try to keep all these spacers straight, guys. So then this goes on to this, just like that. And then we have the output shaft that goes in here, holding it all together. If I can get this right. Alright, let's see if I can. Okay, so that's on, and then on top of this, holding it all together, we have a snap ring. So let's put that snap ring on. Okay, so that now it's all the way through. Let's just push this down. There we go. And now we're all together. Alright, the next step is we need to measure the end play in this whole assembly. So the end play is, if you hold this, let me get you a better view. So the end play is when you pull up on this, that right there. So the specs for this are between 5 thousandths and 48 thousandths. So I'm going to try, let's see, it's 28 plus 7. Let's try 35 thousandths. So we're going to pull that up, see if we can get 35 thousandths in there, and we cannot. We know we're within spec because the maximum tolerance on this is 48 thousandths of an inch. If we were not within spec, we would replace the selective snap ring in here, and that would adjust the end play and the whole assembly.